This is the Voices of Herriman podcast, the podcast that amplifies the voices of our community. Nestled here in the heart of Herriman, where everyone has a story. Whether you're a Herriman native, a newcomer, or an admirer from afar, I got you on this adventure. Welcome to the Voices of Herriman. From Redemption Bar and Grill in Herriman, Utah, this is Voices of Herriman. I'm Kevin Allred, and today I am kicking it with Alex Velez, the owner of Lock 31, the Herriman Outfitters, brand new store here. We're so excited to have you. Thanks for being on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell me about Town Days. How fun was Town Days? That was your first experience with Town Days?
It was super fun. It was exhausting, but totally worth it. Love to meet tons of people. And the simple fact that like probably 9 out of 10 people actually came to our booth that already heard about us was amazing. And it's nice because we more or less did it to be more recognized than kind of, you know, yes, we want to be part of the community and always want to be there. Yeah. But we want to make sure to let people know that we are a brick and mortar. You know, we're not just a pop-up. So people coming by are like, oh yeah, I heard about you. I'm always just driving by. And, you know, our location right now is a little tough. So we're literally next to Lee's Marketplace. So I get it, even being everyday lifestyle and mom, like everybody's rushing to go to the groceries and nobody's going to go shopping or anything like that. So it's nice to have been there and have heard that people heard about us and like just a simple layout of what we had so people see what's inside the store and hopefully brings in more traffic. So that's what we were really shooting for. And I think we actually really got it. So it's nice. So
I'm really excited about that. I think Town Days was just, fantastic. The amount of people that came out, the organization of it.
Yeah, it was
the fireworks.
It flew. I mean, not flew, but like it flowed really good.
Yeah, it really did.
So it did. So yep.
So much better than some of the other ones around. So tell us a little bit about Alex growing up. You said you grew up in New York.
So I'm originally born in New York, Long Island. And then from there, we moved to Tampa, Florida. And I was only there for a very small time, like 3 years. My grandfather was actually mayor of Florida. So then he had passed away and my family went to Pennsylvania. So my reason why we went to Pennsylvania was my father's brother lived in Pennsylvania. So that's kind of what geared us there. And I was kind of just born and raised there and then went to the city for a little bit and then came back to PA. And yeah, I was there for mainly my whole entire life.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell us about growing up, how you did, school.
So coming from like a Hispanic background so Pennsylvania is very, very country, very small. I think the town that we actually came from is only 4,400 people in our town. So that's small. I think we have that in a block here.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Probably. So, just very small town, very old school. My parents were very old school themselves, very regimented. So it was one of those, like, they just went to work and came home, you know, making friends was hard for my parents. They just never really, they always just kind of were always together on their own. And then just being in that small town was hard, you know, because yes, I'm Hispanic. Yes, I speak both languages. And my grandmother, so my mother's mother, lived with us. So both my parents worked super hard. They both kind of had 2 jobs. So my grandmother lived with us inside the home and she was like my at-home nanny. So, but my grandmother never spoke English. So from when I was a little girl, it was one of those, like, you literally hung on every word and figured it out. So she'd be like, you know, speaking Spanish, like, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? It took me like 15 minutes to figure it out. And if I couldn't figure it out, she would be so mad. And I'm like, I don't understand you. So me speaking it and reading it was actually learning, like just listening to my grandma grow up. And, you know, when we'd go away on the weekends, like we'd always go shopping or whatever to this one town called Scranton. Yes, Scranton from The Office. Everybody's always like, is it The Office? Yes, that's where we lived. And we always got looks, you know, like if I had to speak to my grandmother or my mom, like I wouldn't speak to them in English. I would speak to them in Spanish. And it was just always kind of an issue, like, oh, you don't belong here, or go back to where you're from. And you know, so that kind of was hard. So my whole life, like, we kind of was brought up that way. So it was one of those, like, you try not to speak it in public. You just kind of be at home. So we're always kind of like a homebody as we grew up. We're a very tight-knit family. So yeah, it was a little hard. My parents, like I said, very regimented, never, thinking out of the box. They're always like, we just kind of just survived. And that's what they did. Very hard workers. So I learned to be extremely independent from both my parents. But I knew I wanted more from life. I knew there was more out there. I knew who I was and like my background. I shouldn't be ashamed of it. It just made me want to work that much harder, and I knew that, when I was young, I was either a leader or a manager or some sort. When I worked very young. I started working at 14, whether it was 1 or 2 jobs, and then of course school. And it wasn't to help out the household. My parents always made sure my brother and I have an older brother. He's 2 years older. We always got what we wanted. It was one of those like, well, they helped us get through it, but it was one of those like, if you want something, you work for it as well. Whether it's, the silly things that kids want, whether it's clothes or, perfumes and lotions at the time. As far as anything major, my parents always had our back, and always kind of told us like, whatever you want, you work for it, go for it. Like we don't have that ability of life of giving everything for you, but we will always help you. So
I love that.
Yeah. So, and I kind of do that with my own kids. I have a 13 and a 17-year-old, and they've always worked since they were young. So obviously we have family business, and they both started at 12. So giving them that opportunity of learning the value of $1. And, yes, my husband and I give them whatever they do want to an extent, but anything above and beyond that, they know it comes out of their pocket. They have to work for it, and it holds the value of what they have more, especially nowadays. Electronics are insane, but it was one of those like, oh, I lost an AirPod. Okay, well then you can buy it and you could work 3 weeks to get that AirPod because I'm not buying it for you because you had no responsibility. So it just, the value that my parents raised me is the value that I use for my kids. So I feel like nowadays it's kind of lost with the generation we have. But my oldest has her car. She paid for her own car. She has her car insurance. So I provide the car insurance as far as her like being in my policy to help her. Like my parents helped me, but she pays for it on her own, So those little things that help a kid grow up as an adult to know what the value of things are is what I got at my parents.
I love that. That's a great example to be able to take down from one generation to another. Yeah. And you've really seen that with your kids growing and then probably taking things a lot more seriously. Like, if they lose an iPod, they're probably taking care of the iPod a little bit better.
Yeah, if they did that once and they didn't have to do it again.
I'll bet. So talk to me a little bit about Lock 31. So you'd started with that company and a friend back in Eastern Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about what Lock 31 has, what it does, what's the purpose? So
Lock 31 came from a good family childhood friend. I actually went to high school with her, and we had lost connection and then kind of came back together. We have a business back east. We have a gym, and we remotely run it, so we still have it. And she came into the gym years later, and we kind of reconnected there. I was a personal trainer, and she wanted me to train her. So she was with me for like 2 years, like almost 2 years. And she, same thing, entrepreneur. She is a hard worker. She has herself so she's like a welder, but she's like the manager of like these very large man-owned companies. Like she works on like these huge machines, which is pretty cool because she's like itty bitty. She's this tiny little thing, but she holds her own. So she's always had that strong leadership. And the one day she had said to me, I'm going to open up my own shop. And I said, oh, sweet. What are you doing? She's like, I think I want to do apparel. Again, in our little town of 4,400 people, there was nothing there. So anything that was remotely closed, we call it going over the valley. So you'd have to drive 45, 50 minutes. So I said, I think that's great, So she started to do that. I, in the process, had gotten really, really sick. And then she offered me a job that just, cause I'm always go, 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 go. And she knew with being sick, I had to like dial a lot of things down. And she's like, can you be my media manager? I'm like, yeah, sure. I would love to do that. You know, take pictures and inventory and just put things together. I was always artistic in high school, and she remembered that. And so I did that for like a year and a half. And I loved it so much that it was one of those things, like, even after I got better, I still like, I said, I could still do this. And she's like, okay, that's fine, because I don't want to do it. So I did it, and I was fast at it. So for 6 years, my husband and I were always looking to relocate. You know, we've gone everywhere. We've gone all East Coast, down Florida, the Keys, Virginia, Tennessee. We've tried Texas, California, Arizona. And we knew we liked the West Coast over the East Coast. So we just kind of needed to figure out what we wanted to do together, because I'm sun and sand and he's like snow and mountains. So to find a place that we both would mesh together and like enjoy, that's where Utah came in. So we came to Utah on vacation and last March. And as soon as we landed, it was like, this is it. You know, it was the first time we both agreed in 6 years. So we knew it was.
Why was it though? What was it?
Because I think it was the time of year that we landed, because I think it was like March. So you could see like the snow-capped mountains. Oh. But it was not like it was this year. It was actually warm. So this was probably like the wrong year I moved to Utah. But yeah, it was, the weather was really nice. So it was one of those, okay, there's your snow mountains. And then I had the heat. So I was like, this is it. Like, and everything's like together, like everything's nearby. Like I said, everywhere back home, it's like an hour drive.
You got to go over the mountains.
Over the mountain. Yeah. So again, like, I'm always a city heart, a girl, you know, I love being in the city, and he likes being in the cabin, like miles and miles away. So we had to give or take a little bit, but we enjoyed Utah. So literally like 7-8 months later, we came here. So to restart a whole new life, we wanted to start a whole new chapter. So in turn, it was his idea to ask Andrea if we can do a Lock 31 #2. So the one back east is 6,000 square feet. So it's a little bigger. So we call this a sister store. And so we were here for 2 weeks. I go back home and I asked Andrea, I said, hey, like, how do you feel if we opened up a second location in Utah? And she's like, I think that would be amazing. So I'm like, awesome. So that's kind of where we went. So we tried to do it together. We couldn't do it together just because of certain financial issues. So it was just easier with like the name and stuff like that, the domain of the name, that I solely own this one. She solely owns that one. And then we do want to come together and own a third one. So.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So we're going to do a third one as a huge partnership. But she's thinking like, because she wants to relocate. I think she wants like Montana or Colorado.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Good place. So if you had to describe the vibe, if you walked into Lock 31 and said, this is the vibe of this store, what would it be?
Again, the vibe is definitely industrial, but also like kind of Polynesian as well. Like my heart has always wanted to go to like Hawaii. That's always been my dream. And it was funny because my husband's like, well, it's either we open the shop or we actually get to go on like a Hawaii trip. So I picked the shop. You know, Hawaii will hopefully one day come. It'll come.
We're going to put that out there. We're going to manifest it right now. It's coming. Great.
I want to go.
Yeah, we're going to go.
So we kind of like combined the two of them, you know, so we did the industrial, we did super dim lighting. So it's kind of like the vibe you have is like super chill, but we have like loud music in there. So it just kind of keeps you wanting just keep going, rocking around the store, with just like a kind of like an islandly vibe ish going on. We have like a lot of woodwork, everything we did our own. So we built all the tables and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely a different feel. You know, I get nervous sometimes because it's really dark in there because it looks like we're closed all the time. But we've had so many customers because we have said, I know it's dark in here. And they've actually said, don't touch it. Don't. Yeah. They're like, just, we like the vibe in here. Leave it, you know? So we've left it.
I love it. I love walking in there. Yeah. The homemade, handmade, everything. It's just, it's a one of a kind.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into it.
And if you haven't gone, you need to get going now because it is worth the trip. I promise.
Yeah.
what's your favorite thing that you sell there? What's the one product that you said, hey, you know what, if you come in and you're going to buy something, this is the product that you need to buy?
I have two.
Okay.
But our number one, I'd say, is our sunglasses. So we sell knockaround. So they're from San Diego, California, and they're just super affordable sunglasses, but they're so fun. Like, so it's one of those, like, you can't come in and say they're too expensive, because there's no way. Like, they're anywhere between like 28 to 34, but they're polarized lenses, but anything that you're looking for, like, we have it, whether you like purple frames and blue and green, the lenses themselves, like, just different colors, like, they're unique. They're super different. So you could easily walk in and grab one for, like, your kids. We have kid frames, but grab some for being casual, grab some for hiking, grab some for, going out or just being more dressy. Like, they're super versatile, and they're my favorite. And I want to say, gosh, I got to say 8 out of 10 people leave with a pair of sunglasses.
I think they're way cool. Yeah, you can wear them to the beach. You can wear them to dinner. You can wear them.
Yep. Anything. Yeah. Super versatile. And then my other company is Alukai. So Alukai is from Honolulu, Hawaii. So of course that's my favorite. But they're sandals, and they're super well-made sandals. And the behind it is they want you, when you try on a pair of their sandals or their shoes, is to make your feet feel like they're in wet sand. And they've definitely nailed it, So we have people that come into the store that specifically know the company and say, oh my gosh, you carry Alukai. And then we have some people that are like, oh, I don't know, because yes, they are on a little expensive side, but if you ever buy a pair, trust me, you will never go to a different company. They're just that good.
No, and they last forever.
They do.
Like,
they do.
Forever. You probably have them for, for a decade plus. I mean, they're so comfy.
Yeah, they're super comfortable. And even like mine, I've had them for 3-4 years, and they look like I just bought them 2 weeks ago. Like, they do. So yeah, those are my two favorite companies.
I love that. Let's talk a little bit more about Herriman. So, right, landed in Utah, obviously came out to Herriman to look. Excuse me. What about Herriman made you say, this is the place that we're going to open this amazing store?
So we always call it the butter story. So people kind of give us like an eye, like, what do you mean a butter story? So we were actually originally supposed to open in Saratoga Springs, and it ended up falling through.
Take that, Saratoga Springs.
You missed out. So we were actually staying at the Soleil Lofts, and we had come back in August because we wanted to show our kids, like, this is where we're coming to. And in the process of being here, we had met with the company or the, leasing manager, whatever, and things just ended up falling through. I was super, super upset. And I think we only had like 4 days left here. And my little one had said, Mommy, I want pancakes for breakfast. And I said, okay. So in Soleil, there's like a marketplace, but the marketplace was closed at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. They open till 10. So I had told Mike, I said, you know what? When we were driving, I saw a supermarket up on the hill, which is Lee's. And he's like, all right, whatever. He's like, we'll go up there. And so I said, do you want to come with me, or I'll just go get the butter, because we didn't have butter for pancakes. So long story short, he's like, no, I'll take the ride. So we went up to Lee's, and it was the only place up there. And when we walked in, it was beautiful. Like it's kind of reminded me of a place called Wegmans back east. And that's like the place to go. I don't know if you ever heard of Wegmans. So anyway, we get the butter. And we walk out to the car, and we kind of took a look around, and we saw this massive mountain right there. Like, the scenery was amazing. And then just some plaza, like opening, some leasing. And I was like, wow, I really like the exterior of this plaza, because it matches like the whole industrial look that we're going for. And I was like, I wonder if they're taken. He's like, well, I'll just walk in and ask the manager. I'm like, okay. So he walked in, got the manager, and spoke to the manager for the leasing property, got to, this guy named Alex, and he got back to us within that day. And he's like, sure, I'll show you this spot in like tomorrow, or I think it was like the next day. And I was like, well, I'm leaving in like 3 days. He's like, nope, I got you. Literally everything was great. signed the spot, loved it. And, yeah, I told Mike, I said, I like it. I really like it here. You know, it was a little hard. I'm going to be honest. Cause I'm not from here. I wish I did a little bit more research, at the time for location, because I'm in the middle of a construction zone right now. So business is a little tough. Yeah. So I didn't realize, like, from being in a small town, I thought, you know, Herriman was like Honesdale, like small town, and it's not. You know, we're on the other side of Herriman. But I liked, you know, we did drive around and just everything being together, and just, you know, the possibility of everything kind of coming to this area, you know, with the college and everything kind of being built. We knew it's going to be a good spot, you know, when, you know, at the end of riding our roller coaster, because that's what we're riding right now, that it'll be worth it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, the challenge of the building and the construction and everything kind of being new in Herriman. I could see that being incredibly tough.
Yeah.
Tough for business.
It's a good spot, but it's hard because it's one of those, like, it's that leap of faith. You know, do you take it now and get the spot, or you wait and you don't get that spot? So it's kind of like, you know, it's a catch-22. What
has Herriman done? What has the city done? What have the residents done to kind of help you out with that?
What haven't they done? Are you kidding me? My goodness. Like, it's so funny too, because we talk to people back east and we're like, you guys suck. Like, Herriman is amazing. And where we're from is like, you know, the amount of support, love, friendship, care, anything Herriman has given us is insane. Anywhere from just people reaching out, inviting us to certain things, networking, introductions to just amazing people. We have met some really cool people in a very little time we've been here. And I can definitely say way more than back east. You know, back east, like I said, we had multiple businesses, and not once did we have the support that we've had here. And those are back east were from people that, like, are friends, you know, like, we're here, like, we have a stranger that's like, oh, you're struggling here. I'll buy something from you, you know, and they don't even know us. They just want us to survive. They want us to be here. So, you know, opening the store, people coming in, you know, I've had women, I joined a Facebook group called, I think Boss Babes from Utah.
Yeah. I love that.
And they're like amazing. Like, they have reached out and they said, welcome to Herriman and welcome to Utah, and let's do coffee. And so I have, and it's funny because I'm very, very introverted, and Herriman has shown me to love who I am. And to just go out there and explore new things and new people that I won't get hurt. So yeah, I feel like I'm a better person in Herriman, and it's pretty sweet. So the comfort that I have of being in my own skin, has taken me a long time, you know? So, there's still some, you know, I still get some stares. I don't know. Obviously you can see me. So I am covered in ink. So that, you know, I get a little couple of stares here or there, but I've made some friends because I have ink as well, you know? And I'm trying to come out of my shell. And in my stories, if you follow us on Instagram, I try to do more videos. The one day I was just bored. I'm like, let me do a video. And I did do a video, and I literally had, and I'm sorry, because I don't remember your name, but she specifically came into the shop that day and told me, she's like, I saw your video, and she's like, I just want to tell you, you are amazing. She's like, the brightness that comes out of you, the vibe that you have, she's like, keep doing it. And I'm like, okay, like, thank you. I've never had anybody do that, you know? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So, or even her networking every week. I mean, you go to the lunches, I see you there. I just started, so I'm like grateful that I can, because our little one watches the shop. And
shout out to the work from home group.
Yes.
Wednesday at noon. Follow us on Facebook. Mary put this out with some really cool places to go eat, guys. So
yeah. Just meeting everybody there. It's great. And people that we do meet there, they come to the shop, you know, that day or the next day, just to take a look around and just kind of spread the word. And that's all we need, you know? It's just that recognition and just being known.
I love that. I mean, that's the whole point of why we, got this podcast started and rocking and rolling, is because it's our ability to really help and lift each other.
Yep.
Is what really is going to set us apart from other communities out there, to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, you come in from somewhere else. You bring this wonderful vibe. You bring this wonderful family. You bring this wonderful business, and we help lift everybody together. So yep. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad Saratoga dropped the ball, and I'm so glad that little one needed butter.
Yeah,
because that would have been
butter story.
The butter is that is we're grateful for butter now.
Yep.
I love that. So I've got a quote for you, Alex. It says, "Do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up." That's from Nelson Mandela. Whew. So my question with that is, what is your favorite failure? What failure have you had in your life that has best propped you up to be the successful boss babe business owner that you are now?
Oh man, that's a good question. Failure. I don't know. I can't say. I don't know.
Or even like a setback or something like that. Again, that says like, man, this is hard to overcome.
I have to say probably my background. I'd have to say that's a pretty solid, one of those, you can't do it. So when people tell me you can't do it, or that can't be done because you're a woman or because of my background, that makes me fight more, and I can do it. And you can sit back and watch me do it, and succeed at it. So it's one of those, I think it's probably my background. Because as far as a failure, I can't say that I don't have any. I've had some trial and tribulations for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's always made me stronger in who I am, and I kept fighting. So I think if I was close to failing, I really suffered and just kind of overcame that hurdle. But the failure of somebody telling me of who I am and that I won't succeed, it's, it kind of makes me fight,
It's like, watch this, grab your popcorn.
Yeah. Grab your popcorn. Pick a flavor.
Pick a flavor.
Pick a flavor.
Sit down, because it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
It's never come easy. That's for sure. Everything I've done in my life has not come easy. And it's funny because I always do say, I do look up and I'm like, really? Like, can you cut me some slack? Because I am tough, but my plate is overfilling right now. So, and I've always even told my husband, I said, he will never give you more than what you can't handle. But sometimes I feel like, okay, I'm done. Like, stop trying to test me. I don't want to be tested anymore. It's
so true. It's always we learn so much more from like losses and from struggles than we ever do from successes, because we have to hone in and get tough. Going back to your personal trainer days, right? Like that's, it's always the struggle. The obstacle is always going to be the way, right? Yeah. I'll find a way, like I said, I'll touch base on how sick I was, actually, because that was a huge life change for me and my family. Yeah. Again, I was a personal trainer. I was slammed. I had maybe 8-9 clients a day. So, and they're obviously like an hour a day. So I had, but they were great. They were always great to me. I got really, really sick I have a back piece, and, it was 5 sessions, and my very last session, it was just detail. And when I say back piece, like neck to like tailbone, side to side. I was tattooed with contaminated ink. So it had microbacterium inside the ink, and my tattoo artist didn't know. So obviously it's not their fault, but the company was called Dynamic Ink, and they had sent a recall 4 days after I had my tattoo done. Oh no.
So the recall had stated, if you had ordered this lot, please take it off your shelf because it has microbacterium in it. So obviously it's too late for me. So he didn't reach out to my tattoo artist didn't reach out to me. It was one of those, like, obviously I'm covered, so I know like what a healing process is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So this healing process was not the same as all my other tattoos. And I had said to my husband, I'm like, there's just something weird. Like, it's just not right. Like, it was just like itchy. It wasn't gross or anything. Nothing too ordinary. There was just a lot of bumps, so it was kind of one of those, like, if you put too much ointment on, it just like your pores are clogged. Anyway, after 2 months, I knew something was wrong right away, probably after 7 days. So let me backtrack a little bit. I ended up going to the hospital and they gave me a prednisone. So they gave me a steroid. So everybody knows you don't feed an infection a steroid.
No.
So it calmed it down. It kind of kept it the same, but it didn't make it any better, but it didn't make it any worse. I went back 2 weeks later after my dose and they're like, I said that. They gave me more prednisone for another 2 weeks. So they upped the dose. So yeah. Yeah. After a month, I finally got off the steroid. And as soon as I got off, it just blew up everywhere. As far as my back, it didn't go anywhere else. So I told my husband, I said, yeah, no, this isn't normal. So he's the one who's like, go to a dermatologist, like something's up. So they did. They took a biopsy of like my skin and it was literally like the movies when you get that phone call from the doctor and they're like, you need to come into the office. And I'm like, why? And they're like, we need to talk. And I'm like, oh crap. Like, this is not good, So I ended up going and they had told me, they're like, we had all this, I don't know, all this medical terms. And they put this, they spin your skin and all this stuff over like 960 variations of whatever. And my doctor's like, there's only two, it's called mycobacterium, what you have. And it's an internal bacterial infection that it can't be cured. So it's almost like a cancer. So it's dormant in my body. So anything that's highly stressed, it can come out. They don't know what can, in the future, what happens or whatever. But they said there's only one medicine and it's intravenous. And I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, well, you need a port. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I'm healthy. You know what I mean? Like, I've never gone through this. So she had said, you need to go, we put a port in your arm and we feed you medicine an hour a day, 3 times a day. And again, where I lived, everything was an hour away. So this hospital was like an hour away. So right away in my head, I'm like, I don't have time for this. No. I'm a boss lady. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to happen. So yeah, it happened and they did everything very quickly. And about like a week later, driving back and forth, I'm like, this is like, and on top of that, like I took my kids to school, I picked them up from school, I did my work, I did the mom thing, the cooking, the cleaning, and I was just like getting really tired. And I had told my nurse, I'm like, can we do something? Because this doesn't fit being in my life. Being sick does not fit being in my life. It just doesn't work.
I don't want this anymore. Time out.
So they were really nice. And they got me, like, it's called a decompression ball. So my medicine was inside a ball and just decompressed by itself. So I could actually put it in my pocket and give my medicine myself, self-serve my medicine, I guess. So long story short, my arm felt weird after 2 weeks. I'm like, this isn't normal. Like, it hurt. And I told my husband and he would like rub my fingers and I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. They found a blood clot in my arm. Yeah. So now I had, So now I had to go see a heart specialist so they could break that down. And they put a port in my left arm. So it was one of those, I'm like, why can't you just put it back in? And they're like, you can't. I didn't know. Again, I don't know. So they put it in my left arm. I was good for about 4 months, got infected. Because, I'm doing things I'm not supposed to do. Because it was one of those, like, you can't even lift 5 pounds.
Because you're a boss lady.
Yeah. And here I am, like, still training, doing my thing and training my clients. And, I had my little hospital pole going around the gym and I was still training my clients. I had to do what I had to do. I still had to provide for my family. Whether I was sick or not, it is what it is. That's all I knew. That's all I was trained to do, was just work. And, anyway, so that got infected. So then I was like, well, now what? Like, I'm out of arms. They're like, well, now it goes in your chest. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I ended up with a port in my chest. And So then the doctor's like, you really have to be careful because it is right in your aorta. And if you flip that needle, like you need to get to the hospital. So again, I'm like, okay, you know, looking up above, like what else, you know? And, so yeah, whatever. I was sick for about 8 months, complete 360 of my life. Worked and still hustled and do what I had to do. That's when I got offered that job with Andrea. And I just made it work. I healed. And I've been good since then. It's still in my system, but nothing's come out, even though I'm extremely stressed out right now. So that was probably one of my major overcome in life. So.
Well, yeah, just a little bit. You know, I mean, I think you're just an awesome person. And I just have, you know, when you have to grind and get things done like that, and people are able to do that, it's just so cool. And it's fun to hear those stories. Maybe fun's not the right word, but it's like buoys you up.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you sharing that with us. There's
nothing that you cannot do. So like word of advice for people out there that say they can, or, you know, I'm sick and I just can't, you can, you know, you're in that flight or fight mode at that point. No. You know, it just depends on how you want to go about it. So, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I have all my limbs, you know, and I still look at people and I'm just like, I've always said to myself, there's somebody worse off than I am. Yeah. You know? So no matter what situation I'm in, I'm still grateful, you know, whether I have to work a little harder than others or than most or whatnot, there's still somebody out there working harder than me that has it harder than me. So that always kind of keeps me going, you know? Even right now, you know, I am struggling with the business. It's, you know, it's not failing, but it's probably, if we go back, like you said, what's my failure? Not that it could be this, but it's close. You know, we are very, very slow right now. Am I going to close? I'm trying not to. You know, I am surviving day by day, making the rent month by month. I'm not a corporate. I'm a small family owned business, you know, but is it going to make it? I don't know. If it doesn't make it, that's probably my first failure would be Lock 31. You know, I don't want it to fail on the same note. I'll get back up. I'll do something else, or I'll do it again somewhere else. Like, it's just hard, you know, but it's not going to break who I am or my family. It just makes me work harder. Yeah.
I'm going to put it out there right now. I think you're going to be successful.
I hope so.
I think the quality is great. I think the owners are great.
Thank you.
And I think the people of Herriman are great. And I think as we get out there, I think we'll have some more success because we're not willing to lose you guys. That's for dang sure.
I want to stay for sure.
We want you to stay. All right, Alex. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. That's really meaningful. We're going to lighten up a little bit and we're going to go to the lightning round. This lightning round is presented by Redemption Bar and Grill. Mention the podcast. Come on down here. You're going to get 50% off mac and cheese balls, which is one of the best appetizers out here. Again, mention the podcast when you come down here to the Redemption Bar and Grill, and you're going to get 50% off mac and cheese balls. All right, lightning round. Alex, you ready?
Ready.
Okay, sweet or salty?
Salty.
All right. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Yes. Books or movies?
Movies.
Favorite movie?
A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ooh. All right. Is that a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
That's a Christmas movie.
Christmas movie. All right. Okay, you can pick your last meal. What would it be?
Tacos.
What's the best color?
Black.
Black. Why?
It goes with everything.
It goes with everything. My 11-year-old would agree with you on that one.
Yep.
What is your favorite word?
I don't think I can say it.
That you can say on the podcast.
Favorite word. You got me on that. Excellent.
That's an excellent word.
Excellent.
What's the best piece of advice you ever got?
don't give up.
What's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
Let it go.
Let it go. Describe your perfect nap.
I don't get them.
Well, if you got one,
I guess.
What would that perfect nap be?
Let's see. On the beach in a hammock with the breeze and the ocean.
That's a pretty good nap.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. We talked a little bit about being the struggles of being a business owner, and not just a business owner, but being a female business owner. We also talked about the cultural impact of being Hispanic. What are some of the challenges that you are currently feeling as a female Hispanic business owners, and what is the legacy that you want to leave to other females, other Hispanics, other business owners?
Can you repeat that?
Okay.
That was a lot in one question.
Yeah, that's a lot. No, let me try that again. All right. We'll edit that. We'll scrub that part out, right?
It's okay. Just repeat it. Just so I can make sure I'm hanging on every word you're saying and let it filter. Go.
Okay. So we talked about being a business owner and some of those struggles. Mm-hmm. We also talked about the fact that you're a female business owner. Not only are you a female business owner, but you're a Hispanic female business owner. What are some of the challenges that you have faced being a Hispanic female? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Okay, hold on. All right. I'm just going to go back to last question. Okay. All right, last question. We talked a little bit about the struggles of being a business owner, but not only are you a business owner, you're a female business owner, and you're Hispanic. And we talked about some of those struggles. What are the struggles that you have seen as a female Hispanic business owner? And what is the legacy that you want to leave to other female Hispanic business owners?
Okay. Well, I have to say that fortunately, in this time and era, being a Hispanic female business owner has been way better than the past. So I feel like we are more recognized. We are more supported. So I don't feel it's as much of a struggle as it was maybe in the past. So I feel that it's the times have helped us in the be who we want to be, and it has helped us create businesses and stuff like that. As far as a legacy, I just ran into a woman last week. I'm sorry, not herself, but her husband. And apparently she has this amazing entrepreneur business idea that she does from her home. And she is deathly scared of doing a brick and mortar, but that's her dream. And I told him, just do it. So as far as leaving a legacy, like it's, I don't know how to explain it. It can be done. You gotta believe in yourself. You have to take that leap, leave your own legacy for your family, for yourself. I just want other women to see me and watch me grow and us grow each other, which is happening. That's what, I've seen a lot in Herriman. So yeah, I don't think, thankfully, it's as much of a struggle. And legacy wise, like, yeah, if I could do it, anybody can do it. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I love that.
I don't know if I really answered your question.
I think you absolutely did. I think that we all thrive from having examples.
Yeah.
And especially when we see, as your daughters see you being successful, and other people in the community, people that identify, similar to you, they see success. It's easier to build off of giants.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you're really doing is you're really building something special that people can identify with.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I can't say, like, I always hate to use my background. Female, yes. I think being a female in this world has been difficult. It's gotten better. And nothing against you, but I feel like sometimes males are, one of those, I know a lot that are just like, you belong in the kitchen. I can't cook. So, you know, I'm not that way. But, you know, this female I'm talking about, like, she's Polynesian, you know, so being Hispanic, being Polynesian, being African American, anything like that, like, I think it's awesome. I think being a woman in general, you know, even being Caucasian, like, I think there's difficulty in every race, you know, but I think being a female in general, like, is just the empowerment of just doing a goal or reaching a business, no matter what race you are. Just the simple fact that you're a female is amazing. You know, I feel like that is being more recognized now. My husband, he'll tell you he would love to be home and just kind of take care of the kids. He's definitely a worker himself, but yeah, he thrives off me doing stuff like this and loves having people come to the shop just to meet me, or just, you know, this is her thing. You know, he'll always say this is her thing. It's not, it's our thing, but he loves the fact of, you know, just kind of pumping me full of energy and saying this is my thing. So I have a lot of support from there, but yeah, other female entrepreneurs. I love seeing kid entrepreneurs. I think that's amazing. Right. That's so much fun. Even at the Herriman days, we supported. Cool, huh? Yeah, we went by and we bought some things. Just, you know, I didn't care if it was the smallest little bead to whatever they had made. It's just the support that they can get from us is, you know, because their dreams, they're little, but when they grow up, they're going to be amazing.
I love it. So obviously this is the Voices of Herriman podcast. So we wanted to give you a minute to share your voice. Is there anything that you would like to say out to all the people out there?
Yeah, come to Lock 31. Yeah, anything. My voice is, you know, just go for it. I want to say whether it's big or small, male or female, whatever it may be, do it for yourself. Do it for, at the end of the day, an accomplishment that will help you sleep better at night and know that you progressed in life, whether it's, you know, doing little chores around the house that, you know, that needed to get done that you didn't have time for. Make time for yourself, and just support one another, lifting each other up in life. It could be anything, gets you a lot farther in life than, you know, just kind of sitting back.
I love it. And you've got a special offer for the people listening to this podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Come into Lock 31 Outfitters. Again, we're located right next to Lee's Marketplace. And if you come into Lock, you mention this podcast, you'll get 15% off your whole purchase.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm so excited. You guys go check it out. Last thing, you know what to do. Herriman, we got you. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks. Thank you so much for being a part of the Voices of Herriman podcast. I hope you've been inspired, moved, and have connected with the stories and the passion shared by our community. As I wrap up this episode, remember, the journey does not end here. Keep exploring, keep sharing, and keep connecting. Together, we can create a vibrant, supportive, and thriving community. If you have a story to share, a suggestion for future episodes, or just want to say, hey, I'd love to hear from you, reach out on social media at Voices of Herriman and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Before we go, a heartfelt thank you to Mix@6 Studios for producing and editing our podcast. Head over to mixat6studios.com to learn more about all the amazing services they offer. To the amazing individuals who have shared with me their stories and our fantastic listeners, you make Voices of Herriman a meaningful experience. Until next time, take care, stay connected, and remember, I got you.